John Fiske was a media scholar and a cultural theorist who taught around the world. In this video, I will talk about his theory of consumer resistance. John Fiske says that popular culture is made by the people, not produced by the culture industry. He states that consumers make popular culture because they determine what becomes popular. Fiske states that there are two types of resistance: semiotic and evasive resistance. Semiotic resistance constructs oppositional meanings from texts, whereas evasive resistance escapes the constraints of meaning within texts by producing pleasure. Now let me explain semiotic resistance on the example of Kazakhstan. For example, the Oyan Kazakhstan movement, which demands political reform. In Almaty, on the day of the presidential elections, representatives of this movement took part in an action demanding fair elections. The participants of the action held a poster with opposition texts. The action lasted less than 10 minutes. Then the police detained the participants of the action. This refers to the semiotic resistance, since their posters contain text of oppositional meaning. And an example of evasive resistance is the satirical public Kazakh 24. Not real but humorous news is published here. The authors of the public, using jokes, speak out against some kind of policy. For example, in this post, the authors wrote that Tokayev had published an amnesty for himself, and they seemed to criticize his order about the January event. This post easily resists politics. Fiske noted two economies of television: the financial economy and the cultural economy. Financial economy focuses on the production of popular programming that will attract high audience ratings and substantial advertising revenue. Audience commodity, statistical category that can be sold to advertisers in return for profitable revenues. Products as commodity, advertising driven, dominant code encoded. Cultural economy of television centered on the consumption of programming that determines which programs become popular or short-lived. Audience producer of meanings and the pleasures through semiotic and the evasive forms of resistance. Audience active consumer, texts meaningful and pleasurable, audience-driven, oppositional code decoded. Cultural economy is the ultimate producer of popular culture. In general, Fiske rejects the notion that assumes the audience as an uncritical mass. The theory is that mass audiences consume the products that are offered to them without thought. He instead suggests audiences as being of various social backgrounds and the identities that enable them to receive texts differently.